Hi, this is Colin Richards, president and founder of Lord and Richards. And in this episode, we're really continuing the idea that we talked about in our previous episode. What if I have to retire early? What if things happen that don't allow me to follow my plan as to when to retire, and I retire earlier? Will I be economically ready? And as I talked about in that segment, what is really needed at the core is a plan. And that's what we're doing every single day for people like you. This is our specialty, to help you retire and to be able to plan and look in advance at what could possibly go wrong. How do you protect yourself from the impact of retiring earlier than planned? I believe that a comprehensive plan should really, in addition to looking at your goals and your dreams and your values and objectives, which are critical, which are foundational to the plan, I believe it also should take into account worst case scenarios. And one of the things that we do in our plan is, using sophisticated software, we look backwards in time to see what markets have done in the past to help you determine how much risk are you really carrying in your portfolio, and if the markets do again what they've done before, could you continue on your plan without worry? One of the big things that, of course, we're concerned about is, what if you get laid off from your job? What if the nature of your job is dependent on somebody else, an employer or a government entity, and they choose to downsize, or they choose to shuffle the deck, or, heaven forbid, simply because you're older, they discriminate against you? Those can be tremendously challenging, discouraging times. And I've really seen people deflated because they felt like, man, my back is up against the wall financially because I'm just not sure I'm ready to live off my assets and stop getting a paycheck. It means you no longer contribute to Social Security. It means you no longer contribute to your 401k. And it means you actually have to start drawing on assets potentially years before you planned. A comprehensive plan, we call it a financial independence review, will address this and allow you to simulate what it would look like if some of these negative things happen. One of the things that I quoted in that earlier episode from the Employment Benefit Research Institute study is that oftentimes the death or sickness of a spouse could create problems. Consider if you lose a spouse that is part of the earning of income in your household. Now, perhaps there will be some expenses that go down, your food budget, some other things. Maybe you choose to relocate and reduce the cost of living. But often when people lose a spouse, they're not looking to uproot. They're looking to dig in and really get family around them. And we've walked so many of our clients through this, both men and women. The death of the spouse is its own negative event. We don't want your financial circumstances to be ruined by that death. We want you to be able to get through that financially so you can focus on the people that you love and really digging in on those relationships. Another side of that is sickness. Sickness a lot of times is worse than death because of the high cost. Today, running over $9,000 a month easily here in the Denver area, and increasing at an exorbitant rate year by year, somewhere between 3.5% and 4.5% increases in the cost of chronic illness care. That just means that you have to hire somebody in to help with tasks. It may mean that you have to go into a medical facility called a skilled nursing facility. All of these costs mount up. One of the things that we do as part of our financial independence review process at Lord & Richards is we simulate what it would be like for you or your spouse to literally go through that financially. And most of the time, the people we're talking to don't have expensive long-term care insurance for just that reason. It's just too expensive. But what we can do is simulate, can you bear that cost out of your own pocket? Will you be okay? Because our government program called Medicaid does not step in until your assets are drained. And most of the people I'm working with don't want to see all of their assets drained and not available for the well spouse when and if the ill spouse passes away. And typically what happens is when one spouse gets sick, both are out of the workforce because one spouse becomes that caregiver. And then finally, badly timed bear markets, right? The worst thing that can happen to you is right when you plan to retire, the market tanks like it is today. And one of the worst things that you can do is panic during a bear market. They're a natural part of the cycle. It's really hard for us to believe sometimes that the value of assets and the favor of assets go both up and down. And it really takes mature investors to understand that. But beyond that, we need a plan so that the exposure we have to the downside is within our comfort level. It reflects how we feel about risk. Because most people I know aren't comfortable with what happened in 2008 when we saw all stock portfolios like the S&P 500 drop more than half of the value. That's just too much. So we've got to mitigate that risk. And we use institutional risk management to combine other assets and unique strategies used by not only individuals, but some of the largest wealth pools on earth through institutional risk management, through using tips and techniques and tools that foundations and endowments have learned. An economist once said, "When the facts change, I change my mind." How about you? The old rules and the old strategies a lot of times aren't protecting us in the way that we want. Many people are naked in the market. I see accounts all the time that are 70, 80% in stocks. It's okay to own stocks, but we need to find out how much risk you're really comfortable taking and make sure your portfolio reflects that. Did you know it's possible to insert into your portfolio principal protected strategies that allow you to take your principal and keep it out of the market, but still have access to solid growth potential? Those and other strategies are available to you and have been for decades. But the truth of the matter is not every advisor is utilizing them. This is what sets us apart at Lord & Richards. I would be delighted to talk to you more about how we can open up that world to you, where you're not positioned exclusively so that you get all the downside, but where you get a reduced downside risk, a cushion, a floor under your feet, and then strategies that can allow you to profit even when the market is down. Now, that's possible. What I tell you is not possible is to continue doing the same thing and expecting different results. I get that sometimes, and it's hard to make a change. But it might be time to get a second opinion. It might be time to sit down and have a conversation about your goals and values and maybe developing a plan, a comprehensive plan, so that you can retire without worry, whether markets are flying or diving, whether you experience a chronic illness event, a premature death, getting laid off. It's possible to plan in advance for these. And it really just starts with a wonderful conversation with one of our fantastic advisors.